Something is quietly cracking open in your chart today, Scorpio, and it has nothing to do with drama. It has to do with a mirror. Somewhere between now and late August, you are going to be left alone with yourself in a way that feels almost engineered. Not punishment, not isolation. Something closer to an audit. And the strange part is, today's sky is already laying the groundwork for that moment, even though most of what you will notice today looks like it is about other people. Stay with this, because by the middle of the story, you will see exactly how those two threads connect. The bigger picture. Let us start with what is actually moving. The moon is transiting Taurus today and forming a conjunction with Chiron, the wounded healer, right in your seventh house of partnership. In Western tropical astrology, the seventh house governs one-on-one bonds, marriage, close friendship, business partnership, anyone you stand across from as an equal. Chiron here does not create a wound. It reveals one that is already there, usually something around trust, reliability, or whether someone can actually show up the way they say they will. At the same time, Vedic or Sidereal astrologers watching your chart today are tracking a different placement, the moon in Aries, which in that system often reads as a burst of instinctive, gut-first energy rather than a relational trigger. So here is where it gets interesting. Western tradition is telling you today is about emotional accountability with another person. Vedic tradition is telling you today favors trusting your instincts over your logic. Two different zodiac systems, roughly 24 degrees apart in calculation, looking at the same sky and handing you two different gifts. And this is where it gets interesting. They are not actually in conflict. The Western lens says, name what you need from someone else. The Vedic lens says, trust the read you are already getting in your gut. Put together, today is quietly asking you to feel first, then speak. Not the other way around. Later today, as the Leo Sun's influence sharpens, there is a second layer worth naming. When Chiron's sensitivity meets Leo's need to be seen as right, conversations with a partner can tip from honest into defensive fast. That is not a warning to avoid the conversation. It is a warning to notice the tone shift when it starts. Love. You may have noticed lately that certain relationships in your life feel like they are being quietly tested, not through a big blow-up, but through smaller moments where you are wondering, will this person actually be there? That is the seventh house Chiron energy we just named, and here is the practical piece. Do not test loyalty through silence when a direct question would give you cleaner information. If you are waiting to see whether someone notices you are upset, stop waiting. Say what support would actually look like in real, practical terms, then listen, genuinely listen to what they can honestly offer you back. Take a breath here, because this next part is personal. If there is an old wound in this relationship, something around rejection, or a broken promise, or a pattern of one person always chasing and the other always retreating, today makes it harder to look away from. That is uncomfortable, but it is also the gift hidden inside it. A wound you can see clearly is a wound you can actually address. One you are only sensing in the dark just keeps repeating. If you are partnered, resist the urge to drag every past mistake into tonight's conversation. But do not minimize the pattern either, if there is one. Ask what will actually change this time, and how you will know it has changed. Apologies matter. Repeated behavior matters more. If you are single, that Vedic gut instinct energy is genuinely on your side today. Someone new might catch your attention in a way that skips right past your usual overthinking. Let it. Flirtation and new meetings are favored, especially if you loosen your grip on needing everything to make sense right away. Career. Here is the good news they did not mention. The same honesty this Chiron transit is asking of you in relationships translates directly into your work relationships too. If there is a colleague or collaborator you have been quietly resentful toward, or quietly leaning on more than you have admitted, today favors naming it plainly rather than letting it simmer. Building stronger work relationships right now is not just emotionally satisfying, it is strategically smart. Scorpio tends to compartmentalize work as work. Feelings are feelings, but today's energy does not respect that wall. The same specificity that helps a partnership grow also helps a professional alliance solidify. If you have been vague about what you need from a coworker or a boss, today rewards clarity over hinting. And that gut trust from the Vedic reading applies here too. If something about a work decision has felt off in a way you could not quite articulate, do not override that instinct with a spreadsheet. Let your intuition sit at the table alongside your logic just for today. Money. Financial energy today leans favorable, particularly around numbers that carry personal significance for you. Some practitioners point to 50, 11, and 30 as resonant today, though take that as a light nudge rather than a rulebook. What matters more is the underlying theme. Just as today asks you to be specific about emotional needs in relationships, it also rewards specificity with money. Vague financial anxiety rarely resolves itself. A concrete look at what is coming in, what is going out, and what you actually need to feel secure will serve you better than a general sense of unease. This also ties back to that seventh house Chiron energy. Financial partnerships, shared accounts, joint decisions, splitting costs with a partner or roommate can surface the same trust questions as emotional ones. If money has been a quiet sore spot between you and someone close, today's clarity extends there too. Health. Let us slow down here, because this is where today's insight really lands. You have likely been carrying more stress than you are admitting out loud, and that tracks with something bigger building underneath the surface of your chart. Remember that solitary reckoning we opened with, one arriving in late August? Today's Chiron work is essentially the rehearsal for it. The relational wounds you are seeing clearly today in others are often reflections of a wound you will eventually have to sit with alone, mirror and diary, and nobody else in the room. That is the real shift. What looks like a conversation about someone else today is quietly preparing you for a conversation with yourself later this month. Is not optional right now. Healthy, unglamorous ways to unwind, sleep, quiet, time away from screens matter more than usual because your nervous system is doing more background processing than you realize. Some practitioners also suggest that looking into family history right now can surface information relevant to long-term well-being. If that interests you, treat it as gentle curiosity rather than urgent research. On remedies, you may come across suggestions involving specific colors or stones tied to today's planetary energy. Silver is sometimes named as supportive for Scorpio today, and wearing a color associated with a planet is generally safe for anyone. But if you encounter more specific gemstone prescriptions, especially anything involving stronger stones like blue sapphire, treat that with caution. In Vedic tradition, gemstone prescription requires a full birth chart analysis, placement, dignity, house rulership, current planetary periods, before it is considered safe or effective for an individual. This is not universal advice, and it is not something to adopt casually based on your sun sign alone. Home and family. If you are part of a couple, today can be an unusually good day to talk through family matters that have been sitting untouched, planning, obligations, old tension, upcoming visits. The same clarity that is helping you elsewhere today applies here. Say the practical thing plainly instead of circling it. Perhaps you have realized that some of the steadiest people in your life are not the loudest ones. There is a quieter transit thread running today, the idea that a quarter moon in Taurus favors appreciating, enduring, low drama support over flashy gestures. Have you overlooked someone who has been quietly consistent while you were focused elsewhere? Someone who shows love through reliability rather than romance. In the final analysis, steady presence tends to be worth more than someone dazzling who disappears when things get difficult. Tate's energy invites you to notice who has actually been standing in your corner. Travel and spirit. There is a pull toward getting away right now, and it is worth taking seriously, even if only as a mental escape for now. Somewhere like Florence has been mentioned as an appealing possibility, the kind of place that rewards slow wandering rather than rigid itineraries, which actually suits this week's energy well. But the deeper travel happening right now is not geographic, it is internal. Picture it like an old house you have lived in for years, where a door in the back room has always been locked. You have walked past it 1,000 times without wondering what is behind it. Late August is when that door opens. Not through any single event, necessarily, but through circumstance and choice converging, more solitude, more quiet, less noise from other people to react to. Who are you when there is no one else in the room to respond to? That question is already forming, and everything happening today, every honest conversation, every moment of trusting your gut over your fear, is quietly preparing you to answer it. Lucky signs. If you are looking for quick daily anchors today, silver carries a favorable charge for you, and the window between 11 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon is considered especially fruitful for planning anything important. Taurus energy runs compatible with your mood today, fitting given how much of today's story runs through that sign. Numbers with personal resonance today include 50, 11, and 30, useful as a light focal point rather than a strict rule. Tay's guidance. If there is one thing to carry out of today, let it be this: specificity is the antidote to almost everything unsettled in your chart right now. Specific needs instead of silent tests. Specific agreements instead of vague hope. Specific attention to the people who've quietly earned your trust, instead of the ones who simply demand it. That single shift from vague to precise is doing more work in your relationships, your finances, and your own peace of mind than any single lucky number could. And keep that mirror in mind. What is unfolding today with partners, colleagues, and family is not separate from the quieter reckoning waiting for you later this month. It is the first draft of it. Every honest conversation you have this week is practice for the most honest one you will eventually have alone. That one's coming either way. Today just gives you a head start.